I want to get you to some developing news now out of Montana, where lawmakers are passing a new bill in just the last hour that would block new downloads of TikTok. This is the most aggressive step yet by any state against the very, very popular app that is owned, of course, by ByteDance. That's its parents' company, with links to the Chinese government. To be clear here, it's not like you have to delete TikTok when you cross into Montana. So if you're flying to Bozeman, like, you're fine. But if it is not on your phone already, Montana wants to stop app stores from letting you download it. The state's Republican governor is expected to sign it. It would go into effect in 2024. In a statement to NBC News, a TikTok spokesperson says they will continue to fight for the app's users and creators in Montana, saying that their livelihoods and First Amendment rights are threatened by this egregious government overreach. That is the statement from TikTok. But this move from Montana potentially lays out some framework on what we could see on a bigger scale. Sahil Kapoor is on Capitol Hill. Let me go micro-macro here, Sahil, and let me start with Montana. How would they enforce this? Like, in other words, if I am in Ohio and I want to download TikTok, I can, but then I get on a plane and cross into Billings and I can't anymore? How would that, like, pragmatically, realistically go into effect?
It's unclear, Hallie. There are big questions already, including from many of the critics of this bill as to how this piece of legislation could actually be enforced. They do seem to say that if you already have it on your phone by the time it takes effect, which is early next year, early in 2024, then it doesn't really apply to you. That could be a whole lot of people. Do they just get to keep it? What about people from out of state? You know, you alluded to this. If you already have TikTok on your phone, or let's say you just leave Montana and download it and come back, is that okay under the rules of this bill? And what about those who use a VPN, who appear technically to be in a different location than they are? These things are legal. These devices can be legal. And if they do that and download TikTok through the use of a VPN, does that violate the particular bill in Montana if it were to become law? So there are a lot of questions here, maybe even more questions than answers for Montana. But it's notable. This is the first of a kind bill happening in a state. It happens as the federal government has been dragging its feet. Lawmakers in Congress have been talking about doing this for a while. They have not taken any action. And here you see a desire at the state level, in this case, a red state, taking matters into their own hands and banning TikTok, or at least
well, you've gotten into the macro piece, which is, does this lay out a framework perhaps for other states to follow? Do you think that folks on Capitol Hill, where you are, who have been making moves to crack down on TikTok, could draw any inspiration from this?
Maybe. I mean, it would certainly be different. You know, the federal government has enforcement tools that a state like Montana simply doesn't.
True.
They have diplomatic tools to deal with foreign countries that Montana doesn't. So any ban that, you know, could potentially pass through Congress would look different than what's happening in Montana. I think there may be some lessons in terms of, you know, what happens in the legal battle. It looks pretty clear that this is going to be challenged in court, what judges and what the courts say. Maybe it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court about free speech protections, First Amendment protections. That would be relevant to Congress as well. But, you know, on Capitol Hill, there are a number of different approaches here that have been suggested by those who want to ban TikTok. And it's not clear what, if any, has consensus to pass right now. There are those who want a narrow bill that simply bans TikTok, or at least aims to ban TikTok and doesn't do much else. There are others who say they need to deal more broadly with the issue of foreign foreign apps, and there are others who say you can't just go at TikTok and foreign control. There has to be a broader privacy piece of legislation. So unclear what, if anything, Congress is going to do. Now we might see more and more states try to copy this, Hallie.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.